Hello, this is Therese Creatrix, the professional content creatrix, and today I wanted to make a fun video about do-it-yourself miniatures. I recently got into the hobby, and as somebody who just newly got into it, I thought that I'd also share my what to expect and some tips for people who have no experience doing this sort of thing, not even like those Gundam build it, do it yourself kind of kits. So without further ado, I have my notes here on my Onyx books. So the first thing to expect, number one, is that it is difficult. Please don't underestimate the do-it-yourself miniatures. I know that they look really cute, and when you see their product photos, they are assembled already. And when I was, looking around for which miniature to go with, I was like considering the mansion types. I was obsessed with the ones with swimming pools and the medium-sized ones because I thought like those chairs that you see, those benches that you see, all the furniture that you see come as a whole because I grew up with Sylvanian family. I'm not sure if some of you also grew up with that. And that's the traditional dollhouse where you have the whole built part and then you can just move around the furniture. But you're not building that part yourself. For the do-it-yourself miniatures, you are doing it yourself. Every piece that makes up that chair, each of its legs, the stool, even making the cushion with its stuffing and measuring cutting the cloth, you have to do it yourself. So what you see in those pictures, I know they look as a beginner, it's really tempting to jump into the big project, and you can do that. I won't discourage you to do that, but I'm just warning you that it may be a lot, especially if you want to complete it, with less than a week. So know that you have to build every single piece and keep that in mind. If you want to buy a bigger piece, like a bigger set rather, allot yourself more time for it because you have to make every asset. While the smaller ones, it's more gratifying, especially if you lack patience like me, because you can complete it in a few days. I completed Vitality Life, which I'm going to be showing you in this video, in 2 days, but those 2 days were dedicated for building the dollhouse. Uh, I seriously didn't do anything else but build it, so that's the intense focus that I had, which I'll show you around. I'll include a house tour for the miniature. So the second one is, that it's time consuming. So I found the hardest parts for me to make were anything that involves fabric. I realized that I hate fabric, which is ironic because back in 2014 when I turned 18, I made a boutique, an online boutique called Cottontail Boutique, because I was really into Lolita fashion and I was making bows and all that. And now I'm like, wow, I actually don't, no wonder that didn't last because working with fabrics for me personally, um, it takes more effort because it's fabric, it's not like paper that's stiff and you can just cut it straight and just you know go bananas. With cloth, you need to pin it, you need to use pin cushions. uh, you can see from my face, I'm having flashbacks of how much I didn't like making the sofa in the Vitality Life. But it doesn't mean that you won't enjoy it. I'm just saying that it's gonna take more effort. However, honestly, that's gonna add in more pleasure to the process because you get to really sink your teeth in. You get to really uh, be focused and present with what you're doing. So the third thing to expect is that it's rewarding. Um, I at first, when I started doing building Vitality Life, I was overwhelmed. Like when I opened the package, it dawned to me, oh my gosh, I have to make everything. They give you the assets, they give you the fabrics, they give you the templates and cutouts. Thank God for Vitality Life. They give you all cutouts. You don't need to really use templates because what you cut out, you directly use. Unlike the other miniature that I have, you have to cut over it, cut over things. You can't use what they give you directly. But anyway, without getting sidetracked, yeah, I was very overwhelmed. And then what I did is I started with the body so that I don't, end up getting discouraged because of how long it takes to make every book and all the tiny little details, like the tiny Joe Mama perfume, which you'll see in the house tour. You'll be overwhelmed when you open the package, so that's expected. But just have a game plan. Look at the guidebook. They give you a guidebook. Some of these are only in Chinese, and some of these are have English translation. Vitality Life has an English translation, which is very helpful for me. The pictures are straightforward, but there are some things that take some brain work for you to do. Like the lamp that I did, that you'll be doing if you make Vitality Life. They'll show you have to wrap the wire and all that. But what it doesn't tell you is that you need to be able to measure the distance, how far you want the lamp to be from the hole, and stuff like that. But I'm getting sidetracked from how rewarding it is. It is rewarding because you're making something come alive, and it was really wonderful just being able to see how every little piece was making it become a real in quotes house. It wasn't just these scrambled parts. It became a whole picture. And let me tell you, I'm somebody who gets distracted really easily, and I always thought that was a hindrance. I always thought that was a hindrance for me being able to complete anything because I currently struggle with completing projects. They're always halfway done. I get discouraged because I get tired. But with this dollhouse, it's a really good measure for people if you have, focus issues, anxiety. It's very therapeutic in that way that you are you get to focus on what you're doing and you have rewards for it. The reward being you experience how what you're building is becoming complete. And that was so thrilling for me. So for the tips, the 3 tips I'm going to be giving you is that you will really benefit from using the do-it-yourself, the miniature specific glue. The glue that these miniatures use is very different from Elmer's and other glue. Uh, it if you're familiar with the plastic balloon, in the Philippines there's such a thing as a plastic balloon. It's like this gummy thing that you blow onto and becomes a balloon. The glue actually works that way because sometimes it would have bubbles when it comes out of the tube, sometimes. And it would actually become like a plasticky like substance, hard solid substance. And when it hardens, it doesn't harden completely clear. It's kind of opaque. And yeah, but it's opaque but it's solid. Like I noticed that this glue can the special glue that it comes with can hold very tiny objects and also hold the whole body of the miniature. So it's a very interesting glue that can work with very delicate things, details, but also um, the whole structure and more heavier objects. Actually, it can dry transparent, uh, but you shouldn't touch it so much. Okay, so that's something you need to remember. Be careful not to touch the glue so much, because the more that you touch it, the more opaque it becomes. Because uh, yeah, when it comes into contact with air, it becomes more and more opaque. So if you want it to dry clear, do not touch. Avoid touching. Use Oh, actually, even if you use a scalpel or a tweezer, it's still considered, whipping it with the air. So it does make it opaque. So just be a bit strategic when you use the glue. The second tip is to use you'll be needing a scalpel, something small, or tweezers. There are some really fine details here that your hands are too big to put together, or to just be really really time consuming and difficult. So use your tweezers and your scalpel, as well as your scissors. And yeah, we'll reiterate to start small. If you are just getting into this hobby, start small. I thought that Vitality Life would be too small for me, but it turned out really perfect. I really like the size. It's a really classy set. So hope that was helpful, and in the next section we will be having the house tour. All right, so let's start the house tour. Let me swivel on over here to the kitchen slash dining area. So that's how it looks like. There's this sliding, then you have this, it's a paper bag with some pink flowers and some vine. And that bottle over there? That bottle over there is supposed to be perfume bottles, but personally I don't want I don't want another perfume bottle because we already have one in the living room. So I made it a soap bottle because it makes sense since we have the cute little sink. I'm really proud of the sink. It was quite tricky to get the shape right for the hose. But yeah, I'm really happy with how that turned out. And yeah, as you can see, the sink is 3D. It actually has real depth. And that was actually quite easy to make because what I like about this DIY set with Vitality Life is that everything is given to you. You need to cut it out, and the pieces that you cut out you use directly. The top is wood. It's also hollow inside, so it's not just a block. And this is also hollow inside. This is wood down here. The counter, even though it's a beautiful marble looking material, it's actually paper. And the washing machine is a little gripe for me because it's actually just the wood, and we just tacked on the washing machine here, the photo of it. But honestly, it's not too bad. But you know, I love realism and I would have preferred it to be 3D, but it's okay. It's fine with me. And these handles are actually from this chain. And I had to cut the chain in twos to make the handles here. So you can't actually open these. These are just, it's just a line separating the doors, also down here. So this table is not the most stable table in the world. That kind of rhymed a little bit. It always falls over because actually all that you see here, I didn't glue most of these, so you can actually just move these like this one around. Of course, this one is glued on, but some of these I did not glue on because I wanted to, it's therapeutic to just move things around. So yeah, this chair, oops, there, it has happened on camera. This table is made of a paper, paper wrapped around like a cylinder and then put under the wood. And yeah, it always drops. And I have to look for the parts that fell down. Well, because it's fallen down, we can actually inspect these objects more. So this cup is paper, and then the handle I had to cut it out of this piece and shape it, bend it, and then that plasticky effect actually on top of the cutout of the latte. I wanted to look like foam. That is actually produced by the glue. So it has the words Start Sunday, I think. And this is a cool little book. It has some French. You can actually read the stuff in here. It's actually a book of poems. So this one, what I can make off from it is to my wife. With a copy of my poems, I can something. I can read it more. To my wife, with a copy of my poems, I can write no something poem as a product of my love. From a poet to a poem, I would dare to say. And the rest is so tiny for me to read. I mean, just look at that. It's so tiny. But I really like how it's actually real text, and it's not just lorem ipsum. I mean, it's slightly gibberish, but it's kind of readable as well. Let me try reading that short paragraph. And whom wind and winter harden all the loveless land, it will whisper of the garden, you will understand. I probably but butchered the first two. Let's go on over here. As you can see, these windows, these curtains rather, are made of two fabrics. They give you this this translucent fabric and then a more thick one, which I also used to make that pillow over there. And I really like the effect, you know, it's very immersive. So let's see what else we can look into over here. So on the table, we also have a magazine that you can open. There's a lot of books over there. And yeah, some of them you can flip through, and some of them are just in groups because this set is not that sadistic. It doesn't want you to make every single little piece. However, I wouldn't have minded if I had to make all the tiny pieces. So the magazine is kinfolk, and we have all these androgynous people kissing each other, which is why I put it on the table, because I feel like you know, your environment has to be a reflection of you, wink wink. So this magazine has a lot of interior, like this is quite pretty. And then we have modeling, a lot of photo shoots. Like from this set, I can gather that this person really likes fashion. Actually, part of why I chose the set is because it has this high-end feel to it while remaining very simple. And so, you know, something I could live in. I mean, I'm not super into fashion, but the person who lives in this house is. And I like the colors. It's all mute, not too loud. Whoops, almost fell down. And this is funny. Let me show you why it's funny. So I hope it doesn't drop from my finger. We're risking a lot here. Let's zoom in some more. Oh! It's Joe Mama. Joe Mama London. Dark amber perfume. Oh, you know, I didn't notice the names of the perfume. So maybe that's incentive for me to actually complete the rest of the perfume after all. It looks like a Joe Malone perfume. It's actually Joe Mama. So the person who lives in this set likes perfume, apparently. And the fruit on the table, there's actually supposed to be two yellow fruits, but I lost the other one, so let's just think that the person ate it already. And the plant, the pot for it has an irregular shaped bottom, so unfortunately I had to glue it on for it to be stable. The table was one of the first things I completed when I was intimidated by this set, and yes, you can see that I did not glue the mat on the floor. So, you know, it's pretty cool. One thing I noticed, let me just zoom on in over there. The painting kind of looks like me. I have the hat, well, maybe not in that color, but it does look like me, and it even has a mole on the face, and I do have moles on my face, and she's curly, and she's doing a pose that I would do, and it's a nice sunny day, and with some artsy leaves on the side. I found that really cool, and kind of made it feel like more immersive, like this is my tiny home for me. The plant behind oops. The leaves, I had to cut it out individually from the paper. They actually put the prints for the leaves in one of the pages of the guidebook. So don't toss the guidebook. The whole sofa, it did not come as a whole. So everything you see here, every component, every cushion, and even the fact that there is like a covering here, the velvet, that was all assembled. Like, I mean, that was all something that you have to assemble yourself. So that was really exhausting to do. So the glue that I used did not become clear on this fabric, the shiny gray one, but it did become clear on the yellow one, which is an annoyance. But let's just think, like, my headcanon for this is that are you familiar with those pillows that have the sequins that are two-sided, like it's shiny here and then you move it, then it's another color or dull? That's my headcanon. So it's kind of like those shiny pillows that do that. So it's cool. I do see a lot of myself in this set because, yeah, as you can see, there's like a Marshall speaker over there, and I love music and I love sounds. More plants, and then some random wrapping paper. I do have random papers in my drawer rather than displayed. There's a random photo of a lady. I don't know if it's a parent, the occupants, and then there's also a calendar here. It actually has different pages, but I had to glue them together. It's quite cute. Oops. It's quite cute. Like the back side, well, I made this the back side. It's a cactus, well, two cactuses. Oops. And the front are these flowers against a wall and a door. So I really love how high quality the prints are. The rest of the photos were like a sky and the nature, lots of minimal stuff. So, let's take a look at some of the books here. Let's take a look at this bunch. So this is one of the bunches because they're not sadistic. You have 50 shoes. Meryl Seacrest, a biography. Fashion and detail, jewelry design. Rachel Hal, my goodnight book. Very cute, lots of variety here. An autobiography, 50 shoes, kinfolk. This person is subscribed to kinfolk. They really love a lot of kinfolk. I love your style. More style and fashion stuff. And inside, sadly, is the same images as before. And the animal looking book by Rachel Hale, Zoo. So it's cool, this person likes animals. However, it's funny how the book does not have animals in it. And yeah, sadly, the rest of the books are like that. Well, the ones that you can open, they're all just the same on the inside. Like, let's check out Flipped. Haha, it's cute. It's a chick. It's the same thing again. But let's take a look at the titles here. So for this one, we have 50 Shoes again, Fashion and Detail, Ballet Across, Lanvin, another subscription of Kinfolk, and oops, it's supposed to be like this. So for this one, another subscription of Kinfolk, In My Pocket, William Shakespeare, another Meryl Seacrest book, and Never Let Me Go, the novel. Very young adult looking. This over here is paper. Well, rather like a thin cardboard. Then these are just prints on that cardboard which I had to cut out. So there's no sticker here actually. They give you cutouts they give you patterns and the resources that you need to cut out yourself, and glue. So this is also cardboard, and the shelf is wood, and they give you these different planks that you need to fit in yourself, as well as a plank over here. They give you a pattern to glue over here to make it look like those little compartments. And the floor actually is one big print that you just glue on, and then the mat, the carpet, is a cutout. This is made of paper, the table, the top, but the legs are wood, and the feet of the sofa are beads. You can see a little bit of the wiring behind the lamp. There's also wiring through that little gap. You can see that gap over there, that gap beside the washing machine, for the wires, not for the washing machine sadly, but for here, the top shelf for the lights, the lights for the counter. So I really love how it's so detailed and very simple, and it wasn't that hard to make, and this is my first one.